Guys, it is conceivable that by the end of today, no water can get through that roof. Send text message.
What do you want to say?
Check out this sunflower in the garden we got.
Ready to send it?
Yeah. Read text message from Alyssa.
Take a square photo of the sunflower for me. OMG love the second one. This is pure happiness. Would you like to reply?
Yes.
What do you want to say?
It looks like there's gonna be probably 10 more of those where that one came from.
Ready to send it?
Yeah.
I'll send it.
Sounds like Alyssa's editing video in the house. What? All right, today we have one goal, but it's going to take a lot to achieve this seemingly simple task. So here's the thing about the ridge cap. We've got some struggles. One, moving across the ridge now is extremely difficult, and as if it wasn't dangerous already, it's more dangerous for two reasons. One, the roofing is extremely slick, which you want, but that makes it pretty much impossible to get grip with your shoes. So it's kind of like oiling up a horse and then jumping on and trying to stay on. You like that analogy? Pretty good. The other thing is, for a portion of that, we'll have a lifeline, but when we get about midway down the roof, lifeline's going away because there's nothing to hook your lifeline to, because the ridge cap is going to cover over the anchor that we have attached at the ridge. And then there's another predicament. We cannot sit on the ridge cap because it's just too thin of metal, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to end up denting it if we do that. So I've got an idea. I got an idea from somebody else for a way to solve this problem. Basically, we're going to use a couple of 2x4s, or here's what I think we're gonna do. And we're gonna make an X, something like this. Since our roof is a 12-12 pitch, this angle in here is 90 degrees, which works in our favor. And then we're going to attach at the top with a 2x4 and the bottom with a 2x4. I've got to find a way to make this sled just a little bit long, so it'll look something like this. And I'm not sure exactly how to do that, but we need something like this to sit on. And then we'll put some 2x4 kind of rails down here that will hold the sled up off of the ridge. So our ridge cap will go in here, we'll be sitting up here, and these will be bearing down on the roof underneath where we're sitting there. We've got to build that, so that's on the checklist. We've got a couple other things that I need to do up there that are going to make this more difficult. So at the end of the north ridge, we did not completely foam everything from about halfway on because we kept running out of foam. So I'm going to take some foam up there and finish foaming in the air barrier. We've got a lot of R value. I stuffed a bunch of foam up there if you guys remember that video, but I've got to tighten that up and make sure that our air seal is good all the way down, because once we're capped, there's nothing we're going to do to change it. Jumping back, I forgot to mention, one of the reasons that having no lifeline gets even more difficult is that we left those tethers here in the middle of the roof. And the big deal is that they kind of lay sideways. So they look like this, and they've got kind of a hoop anchor. And that anchor is not laying flat. So as we try to put the ridge cap on, I think it's gonna get in the way of that anchor. So there's a good chance we're going to have to cut those out. If that sounds terrible, I'm pretty sure it's gonna suck really bad. So what I'm gonna do is hope that the ridge cap will cover them and I don't have to deal with it. I'm sure you guys are as curious as I was. How do you hold the ridge cap on? The answer is pop rivets. I did not know this, but you can get color matched pop rivets. Isn't that sweet? So you don't have to see the shiny little rivet that's holding your ridge cap on. Of course, that's if you don't chip the paint off. So I've got a baggie of these. I just need to find my riveting tool. Before I do that, let me back up just 1 second. In case for some reason we have not explained why we're getting a new ridge cap. I think we've done that in a couple of videos, but just in case, let me tell you really quick. Some of you might remember this diagram. We chose to go with a standing seam roof. And when we did that, we wanted to use a hidden fastener roofing system. And when we went to buy it, the manufacturer we were working with, and apparently many of the manufacturers in our area, do not recommend hidden fastener. That doesn't mean that it's a flawed system. The basic nutshell of it all is that they aren't comfortable with it. Doesn't mean it's bad, they don't like it. They prefer we put screws in. So when we bought the roof, we originally had planned on putting screws at the eave and not using any kind of hidden fastener system. I didn't like that. I wasn't at peace with it. The idea of screws exposed in the roof did not excite me. But I was willing to accept it. I didn't see that I had a lot of other options. The manufacturer was not willing to warranty the roof if we did hidden fastener on the eaves and on the rakes. Once the roofing arrived, I looked at the roofing and I said, there's no way we're doing screws in the eave. We're totally doing hidden fastener. We went back down this big merry-go-round and we ended up having a long conversation with the manufacturer, and they agreed that they would warranty the product if we only did hidden fastener on the eaves, not on the rakes. So we're still gonna have some screws exposed in the roof, but very, very few. The problem is we already had the roofing on the ground, and that means we had already determined the length of the panels. But when you use a hidden fastener system, you need about 1.5 inches extra metal for the hem that happens on the eave. We didn't have that. So the ridge cap that we had originally measured and ordered was perfect until we cut 1.5 inches and decided to hem the panels. So we had to reorder the ridge cap. It was about $200 to do that. In my mind, that was stupid cheap to have no screws in the eave. Maybe it's in here. There you are, you little stinker. I don't know, guys. Not bad for a one-time use ridge sled. Maybe we should test it on the ground before I get all the way to the roof. You might recognize this as a semi-popular picnic table design. Who says it has to be a picnic table? Oh, that's the plan. To be able to work on the ridge right here. Hopefully it'll be right about there, actually. About hand height. And then I have no idea how I'm gonna move this. I don't know if I'm gonna have to sit up and, well, that was never part of the plan. I had thought about this earlier and it just dawned on me again that my rail sliders right here probably ought to be twice as long as any of the ribs. These are 16 inches long and the ribs are 16 inches apart. And I think that's gonna make my life really difficult because I'm gonna have to sit on top of a rib. So I think I'm gonna swap those out for something a little longer. That's a little longer. Oh yeah. Oh hey, I pretty much have myself a makings of a sleigh. Might have to put some skis on this winter and tow it behind the backhoe. Where have you been? Huh? You haven't been around in like 2 days, dude. What have you been doing, man? You just gonna leave for like the weekends now, or what? Huh? You aren't even in college yet. Are you trying to cuddle, sort of? Yeah, it's probably pretty hot out here for the buggerfish, huh? Yeah, he wears a fur coat all year round. Yeah. Bugaboo, we're gonna put the ridge cap on today. Yeah, are you excited? The house will be dry now. Huh? Aren't you glad you don't have to do it? Talking to you.
Oh my gosh, what are we doing?
Is that Mom?
How come Mom wasn't invited to the cuddle party?
Is that Mom?
We haven't seen him in 2 days.
I know, I told him.
What are we doing over here,
Oh,
Bugaboo?
he's getting his love fill.
Oh, hi.
Can't you see his love tank? It's on
Oh
empty.
my god, it's
on
totally
E.
empty.
It's on E.
Bugaboo.
E for eek.
Bugaboo. Oh, did he come find you?
Oh yeah, well he was meow 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 meow, and I sat down on the apron of the garage to see if he wanted to cuddle. That's an affirmative, so I brought him into the shade, and this happened.
He is so happy.
Getting some little like trills and rumbles and grumbles and Bugaboo, like that. oh,
It's a bumblebee.
Oh,
Ooh.
whoa, what was that? Oh, proof this cat never stops hunting.
Nope.
Oh yeah, I forgot to share. There's another step to this whole process. So this ridge is a vented ridge, right? Because we built a cold roof and the ridge cap needs to vent. So we bought a very unique product that matches the roofing ribs to basically create a vent underneath the cap. This is a product made, I think it's called LP2, Weather Tight Ridge Vent, LP2. And it's kind of a meshy foam product. And it looks like it actually adheres to the roof. So there's a self-stick, oh yeah, it's a couple beads of like adhesive there. And this goes over the rib, right? And then the ridge cap lays on top of this. And then you basically put these over every other rib. This kind of foamy, this has the consistency of like a heavy Brillo pad or like a Scotch pad. And it should allow air in. Of course, it looks like it's gonna have somewhat of a filtration effect. So maybe over 50 years it'll get clogged or something. Not really sure. But that combined with the height of the roofing should make for a nice vented ridge. I'm really not sure how I want to finish the ridge cap, meaning how do I want to detail it at the ends. And so I think I'm gonna do, we have 50 feet of ridge cap and we have 46-ish feet of ridge. So I think I'm just gonna leave about a 2-foot overhang on either side. And well, no, we need to overlap. I think they're 10 feet 2 inches is the overlap on these panels, the 2-inch overlap. So if I leave a couple of feet on either side, then when we go up to do the rakes, I should be able to tuck the rake underneath the ridge cap at the end panel, so we won't be fastening at the end panel. And then I should be able to cut and hem and do whatever I want to make it look nice and tidy.
Video editing is going great, guys, if you're wondering. This is sort of weird for me. I feel like we've both been working on the roof for a very long time in the sun, but this really is a one-person job. Someone needs to be driving the forklift, so might as well spend this time trying to get caught up on some of those videos that you guys claim to enjoy.
Well, I think before I get too heavy into this and start removing the ridge cap I put up the other day, I think it's only right to just test out the ridge sled and see if we're onto something or if it's a dismal failure. Well, I think this falls into the dismal failure category. Been sitting here staring at it for 15 minutes and there's lots of problems. One, it's way too high. Never going to be able to sit on that. just because you can't get your feet on the roofing. So what are you going to step on to get on that? Like, it's way too high. And two, that puts you basically have nothing really to help you keep your balance. So I've been staring at it, trying to think of a way to do it better. But then I'm also thinking about trying to do the ridge without it. And well, I think I'm willing to admit I'm stumped, because the ridge cap that's going on here actually sits up on these ribs, and it'll have the ability to be squished. This ridge cap is actually sitting outside the ribs, so it's actually pretty rigid, and you can actually sit on that and bend it a little bit and it won't damage it. But if I sit on the other one, I'm worried that I'm going to bend it and it's just going to be really, really hard to fasten. I don't think I have an option on the ridge sled. I think it has to happen. You have to be able to sit off the ridge, but low, so that your legs are on there so you can stabilize. This thing, if you get off a little bit, you're going down. Wouldn't that be exciting? So, time to go back to the drawing board and see if I can find a more suitable solution. It's leaner, and I had to use one more screw than was in the other one. Would you believe that? But it's definitely a lot lower. The ridge will actually be probably right here. And while that still puts me pretty high, I feel like maybe, well, I don't know. Let's go take a look. Well, here I am again with Ridge Sled 2.0, and ironically the same issues exist, -1. It's low now, so that's good. The center of gravity is fine, but the problem I still see is it's not obvious how to move the sled across the roof. So I guess what I'm coming to the conclusion is that on this steep of a roof pitch, a ridge sled doesn't seem to be much of a help. On top of that, it's not even clear how to get on and off the ridge sled. I mean, I can cowboy with the rest of them, which means I can get on, but then I'm not sure. After that, it's not obvious what to do. So I guess I'm feeling a little defeated, and I think what's really frustrating is that obviously the goal is to get the ridge cap on today. I thought this would probably speed up the process, make life a lot easier. So I guess it's time to bag the ridge sled and bring up some ridge cap and kind of see how that fits, and kind of how if it's even possible to move around with that stuff up here. You know, this is exactly how getting this roofing up here was. It took 2 days to figure out how to move it, and then once that was figured out, it wasn't that hard to put on. So I guess I'm feeling defeated, and this is why I don't want to start some of these projects right now, because I'm exhausted, I'm burnt out, and I'm just sick and tired of dealing with not obvious solutions. And I know a lot of it comes down to the complexity, the steepness of the roof, the height, and on and on and on. So I chose this battle. We'll get there, but right now, I'm kind of frustrated with it. Yep, that's exactly what I was afraid of. So if I sit on this to put rivets in, look, just gonna mash it down. Dang it. So it needs to sit like that, or close to that, or maybe even a little bit farther. I guess that wouldn't be terrible. It's not perfectly correct, but gosh. Well, after jockeying with the ridge cap and trying to move back and forth on the ridge, no luck. So I brought the ridge sled back up here and was able to determine that I can move across the roof if I kind of lay on the sled instead of sit on the sled. So I can sit on the ridge and move the sled, and then kind of take my weight off of the ridge onto the sled, do what I need to do, place rivets, etc., and then move. So I'm scratching my head up here. I'm starting to think that this roof is like so on the edge of impossible for us. I'm sure that the professionals probably use some sort of cleat or something on the ribs. But there's another problem. Let me share that with you. So this ridge cap this one has a 1-inch ear at the bend. This one has an 1.5-inch ear at the bend. The problem I've identified is that the LP2 vent, which will lay inside the rib here, is 2 inches deep. And we have a screw at the top. So if we try to put the vent right here, it's gonna sit on top of that screw. So it's not gonna work. It's gonna screw it up. Haha. So we either need to remove those screws and put in something like a truss head screw or something else, or move the venting down. Pretty much any way you look at it, guess what? That ridge cap, it's not gonna work. Man, they call this college time. We are paying out the nose to learn a lot about this stuff. What's frustrating is when I called the order in, I told them the length of this portion of the ridge cap, the leg, and I said I need an ear that is as wide as the LP2. And they sent something that's 1 inch. And the LP2 is 2 inches. So the lesson I'm learning there is that, as is always true, if you don't take responsibility, you're not going to be able to blame anybody else. And that's a good life lesson. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to bag this, because I'm going to put this ridge cap on once. And I'm just not, this is going to be so much effort. So much effort. So I think it's time to order a new ridge cap. And because of the day of the week it is, we're going to wait a week. I need more ridge cap. Yeah. Well, the whole thing. So, I don't know. You didn't do anything wrong. I just wasn't apparently clear on what I needed. So, I think we'll get it. Third time's the charm. So, I'll give you actuals. Let me ask you a question. Is there any disadvantage to having a big ridge cap? Can you think of one? Right. So let's just go bigger than we need to be. So let's go to 8 inches on the leg. So I need a 3-inch ear. You know, price doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't really care. I mean, I want durable. So if we can get 26 or whatever, that's good. Yeah, I don't know if is it available in 24? Got it. Let's not do that. Yeah, I'm struggling with this roof as it is. So if we can keep it as thick as possible and get that shape, I think we're golden. So, okie doke. We'll keep in touch. Bye. Well, there you have it. So they're going to make another round. He was thinking about switching to a 29 gauge, and I said, no, let's keep it. Let's keep it the way we have it. There's nothing really wrong with the color or the thickness or anything. It's just the shape. So super disappointing and frustrating. I guess maybe this will give me time to think about how to do this. I just feel like we're beating this roof to death, trying to figure out how to get this ridge on. We're scrubbing our feet all over it. We're moving the ladder all over it. We're moving this ridge sled all over the place. I mean, I can't believe this roof is surviving all of this. I guess time will tell.
Are you kidding?
The universe does not want us to finish this roof.
What's the problem?
It's a million problems. Good. That looks like a wall of rain, guys. Holy cow.